Would you believe me if I told you there's a way to lose weight for good without counting calories and without dieting? Maybe it sounds too good to be true, but I've done it myself and a number of my clients have done it since. Not only that you'll lose weight without obsessing about food, but you'll increase your energy, you'll think better, you'll feel that your memory's better, this mental fog has been lifted, and you'll actually feel younger too. Younger in a good way, right? Like nobody wants to go back to their 20s, right? At least I know I don't. Thank God there was no social media at that time, right? Anyway, let's get back on track, shall we? So not that this is actually possible, not to have to obsess with your weight, calories, dieting, meal plans, waiting for 2 hours to pass so that you can eat again. It is very simple to implement with this method that I'm going to share with you today. And it has to do with fasting, but not any fasting protocol. Fasting needs to be done right in order for you to have a good relationship with food, a good relationship with yourself, and to have a long-lasting effect. Once again, so you don't approach it like a diet for a limited time. So what I want to share with you today is things that I teach my clients, and it's different from what you already seen or read about when it comes to fasting. And who am I to talk about this? Glad you asked. Let me introduce myself real quick. I am Lex Vuko. I've been in health and fitness industry for over 20 years now. I've competed in amateur bodybuilding, boxing, kickboxing. I have been overtrained, undertrained, injured, and I have finally found a balance with my body. And at this point, I've served a few hundred women, and I've seen patterns of what works and what doesn't. And that's why I'm here with you today to share all that information with you. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join me on this journey where I can help you feel like you're at a 10 daily. Now let's get into it, shall we? Okay, there are many different protocols you can find and read about online, like 16-8, OMAD, and so on. I do have a full video dedicated to these different techniques, so make sure to check that out after this one. But in all honesty, if you choose one of these protocols and stick with that, rather than listen to your body, you are more likely to approach fasting as a diet. And if you have been dieting in the past, you may need a diet detox, as I call it, where you have to move away from patterns that you have created when you were dieting. Remember, all things that we do repetitively become a habit and we don't see ourselves doing them. Things like dieting makes you think something is for a limited amount of time. It already makes you feel restricted and deprived. You already know it's not the way you do things regularly. And let's face it, there's nobody happy on a diet either, but there's plenty of happy people fasting. That should tell you something. So again, this is not a question of which protocol is right for you, because honestly, most of them can be. But it's not about choosing a protocol. It's about you changing your relationship with your body, with food, with yourself. Because you have to start connecting with your body and learning about its needs. So that starts with awareness. That's a first step to a change, right? So in the beginning, I just want you to start being aware of when you're eating and drinking. You're not fasting yet. You just start thinking, when is it that I do have breakfast or sugar with coffee maybe before breakfast? When is it that I can actually spike the insulin in the morning? And then when is my last meal or my last bite in the evening? So maybe your dinner is at 7 p.m., but you have popcorn at 10 p.m. So awareness, no judgment, guilt, or shame. It is so easy, too easy, to be judgmental on ourselves and say, oh, I can't believe I do that, or try to hide from ourselves when we eat. This is an honest view of how you do things. It's not who you are, it's how you do things. But you really do need to be willing to face it. In my 20 years of experience, I've seen women who have so much guilt and shame that they are lying to themselves and they start eating differently right away because they don't even want to admit that to themselves. We have to work on that, ladies. We have to work on releasing that and allowing ourselves space to see the habits for how they were, because that's how we're going to change them. Lying to ourselves is never going to lead to a desired outcome. So now you're aware. Now you know. Now you're like, I have my coffee at 6:30 in the morning and I put sugar in it. And then I have my popcorn at, let's say, 10 p.m. So that's your eating window. Now I want you to shrink that eating window by 15 to 30 minutes, right? You can go both ways. You can move your coffee to 6:45, 7, and your popcorn to 9:30 p.m., or you can just choose one or the other. Maybe 6:30 is a perfect time for your coffee. Leave it be, but maybe you can move your snack time to even 9 or 9:30 because you already had dinner at 7. And that's all you do for maybe a week or at least a few days. Now that you get used to that, you can move that last snack to 8:30 or 9. And then at some point, you may want to look into different snacks for a change. So maybe instead of microwavable popcorn, you can figure out how to make your own. It's actually really, really easy. I'm sure you can find videos on YouTube. Or maybe trying a new thing like frozen grapes. They are super healthy. They are super yummy. They never fully freeze, so they are super fun to eat. Or another piece of fruit. But isn't fruit bad for me, Lex, especially late at night? No, fruit is not bad for you. What's bad for you is sugar. So if you were to extract fructose out of fruit, that would not be great. But fruit, go ahead. And it's still better than microwaved popcorn. And if you need more ideas on healthy snacks, super easy healthy snacks, you may want to check out my recipe book. There are dinner ideas, dips, desserts, and a few other things that are always easy ingredients and super easy to make because, as I always call myself, I am a lazy cook. I'll leave the link in the description so that you can check it out and see if it's the right choice for you at this time. Okay, so by now you've kind of shrunk your eating window. You started being more aware of when you're eating and you started testing your late night snacks. So now let's say you have sugar in the morning in your coffee. The next step would be to slowly, how fast? Slowly reduce the amount of sugar that you're putting in your coffee. When you do it really slowly, you're allowing your taste buds to change and you'll end up getting to a point where you can drink coffee with no sugar. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that happen, even for people who swore they could never have coffee without sugar. Now, oftentimes I get questions about a creamer. Choose full-fat creamer, the ones that doesn't have too many carbs. This is why adding a pinch of butter or a pinch of coconut oil is also a great addition to your coffee. So you're slowly reducing sugar, slowly adding butter, grass-fed butter or coconut oil, and that way your taste buds adapting and you're still fully enjoying your coffee. Remember, it's not about you being deprived or feeling like you are drinking your coffee but it tastes gross to you. It's about you finding what works for you. Now remember, this whole process is going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of effort. But it always beats feeling starvation or misery that any diet brings. Plus, when you make changes this slowly, you will actually be able to stick with them and not treat it like a diet for a limited time, but actually change your lifestyle, change your habits, change your approach to food, and most importantly, change your taste buds. Okay, so what would happen over time? Over time, you've slowly reduced that sugar, maybe added some healthy fats to your coffee, and at some point completely even eliminated your sugar. So now your coffee time still counts as fasting, and you've shrunk your eating window with your snacks. Maybe at this point, your snack comes right after dinner. So now you have shrunk your eating window without feeling restricted or deprived. The next thing I want you to ask yourself is, in the morning, when am I actually hungry? We may call it breakfast and think that it's an early morning thing, but breakfast simply means breaking a fast because you weren't eating throughout the night. So it's not necessarily a 7 a.m. breakfast or 8 a.m. breakfast. It's breaking the fast whenever it works for you. See, most of us have not really been allowed to develop that sense of when am I actually hungry because we had to eat before kindergarten, before school, before classes in college, before work. We were always taught when to eat depending on the work schedule rather than when to eat depending on what my body needs. So this is your next step. Ask yourself, when am I actually hungry? Now, don't wait till you're starving though, because when we're starving, we just inhale that next meal. We're not thinking about calories. We're not thinking about weight. We're not thinking about anything. We just want to stop feeling like we're starving. So a slight hunger is okay. That's when you want to start testing your body to see how far can you push that breakfast. Nothing drastic. The name of the game is gentle. So 15 to 30 minutes pushing it up. And now if you've added grass-fed butter or coconut oil in your coffee, that's actually going to make you feel fuller longer. And let's say you started adding a little bit of water before and after your coffee. You're not going to feel as hungry as early as you think. Just remember, no starving, no waiting too long. because we don't want to get hangry. And I want to hear from you. Has this been a case in your family where you told when to eat? Were you told to finish everything off the plate? Because that's how I grew up. And then as an adult, I had to learn to actually listen to my body's needs and give it as much or as little as it needs. So leave me a comment below. Let me know how you grew up. What were your habits about food that you picked up when you were little? All right, my friends. So at this point, you've changed the first thing in the morning, insulin spiking sugar in your coffee. You have reduced your eating window. You've changed the way you view food. You started allowing your taste buds to change. You've changed a few snacks. Now, these small changes make a huge difference in a matter of a few months. And if you're still confused about intermittent fasting or need to learn more about it, make sure to watch my whole playlist that I have all dedicated to how to fast, when to fast, fasting protocols, and all the details about it. And please always leave me a comment if you have a question, because I will answer it and I will make more content based on that question so that I can help serve you. So now back to those small changes. Now you can adjust your eating window a bit more, because your body had time to adjust to say, we don't really eat till 10. Let's push it till 10:30. We don't really need dinner at 7. Let's push it to 6, provided that this fits your lifestyle. For example, I had a client whose husband worked all day and the only time they had together was evenings, and she loved having dinners with her husband. So we worked a schedule where she shifts more in the morning and still has a meal with her husband at night, because food is bonding. So if she was sitting there feeling like she has to diet and either eating differently than her husband or not eating while he's eating, it's actually not a bonding time for us. We feel restricted, we feel deprived, we feel disconnected. So once again, all these changes need to work with what your schedule is like. And then at this point, you just keep going. You want to test the body and see where it works the best. It doesn't mean you keep shrinking the eating window. That's what I did just to test things out. And then I got to 6 hours, and then I got to 4 hours, and then I got to OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, because that seemed to work really well for my body. And I'll also say, because I have a history of binging when I was bodybuilding and developed a binging disorder, eating 1 meal a day actually helped me stay sane. Because in that meal, in that 1 hour window, I let myself eat whatever I wanted. Now, granted, I'm always focused on health, and I always suggest you be focused on health. But when it comes to fasting, you will get benefits of it even just by shrinking the eating window and not even changing what you're eating so much. Because remember, if you're addicted to food, it's going to take you time to get away from that food. And I'm not saying that 1 meal a day would work for anybody who tends to be binging. I'm just sharing my experience, by the way. But you don't ever have to go to 4 hours or 1 meal a day. You can choose what works for you. I have a client right now that a 14 to 15 hour fast works really well for her in her schedule, and that's what she does daily. Just remember, the word of the game is gentle. When it comes to dieting culture, it brainwashed us to think, go big or go home. I start a diet today, I go all in, and then I drop out. That's not what we're doing here. We're making small changes that you can stick to. Is this move gentle enough for me to implement it and keep it going and not make me feel restricted or deprived? Now, here's a quick rule. If you are somewhere out and about and it's 9 p.m. and there's your favorite food there and you want to eat and it starts messing with you, like, should I not, eat. It's more important to develop a proper relationship with your food than to actually keep pushing it away from you when you actually want to. Because guess what? Let's say you ate, and let's say you ate a lot at 9 p.m. You can always push that breakfast early in the morning till later. Depending on what you eat, you may not even feel hungry in the morning. This is about connecting with your body and learning about what it needs. This is not about depriving yourself. This is not about losing your mind. This is not about instant gratification. If you make one small change once a week, in 6 months, you've made 20 to 24 changes. We can both agree that 20 to 24 changes would make a huge difference overall. So don't be in a rat race to drop your weight quickly. You will drop the weight. But the trick is to be kind to your body, to treat your body with respect, to give it what it needs so that you can sustain the schedule for a long time. And as always, if you feel like you want more personalized attention, more hands-on, more follow-up, if you need me to help you through this, I'll leave the links below. I have a membership and I have one-on-one coaching through which I can answer all your questions, be there for you, follow up with you weekly. And again, I'll leave the links in the description. See if it's something for you right now. In the meantime, leave me a comment below with any questions you have. Lastly, but most importantly, we need to remember as women, we're fast differently than men. So we have to skip fasting that last week before our cycle. And for more information on why women fast differently than men, click here to check out this video. See you next time.